To support this podcast, go to positivesarcasm.com/donate. Any amount is appreciated. Once again, positivesarcasm.com/donate. Thank you and enjoy the program. Jay here at positivesarcasm.com, recorded here from the Spare Parts Studio alongside New Hampshire's beautiful seacoast. Like, subscribe, share, donate. Positivesarcasm.com/donate. Any amount is appreciated. Questions, concerns, or comments, go ahead directly to my website. Go to the contact page. You can hit me up on Instagram at +_sarcasm, or you can email me directly, positivesarcasm@outlook.com. All your questions, concerns, or comments. It's officially September. Back from my actually surprisingly brief hiatus. The leaves are starting to hit the ground, which means great. Now I got to buy another outdoor piece of equipment so I can blow leaves off the lawn. But that's not this week's podcast. We're not here to complain about outdoor chores. We're here to obviously explain the recent hiatus, and let's just get right to it. I do have some notes, but I will start off with the basics. Everything is fine. All right. Everything is fine. I thought the worst, but I have paperwork here. You know, believe me, I don't believe everything is a conspiracy. I don't think every part of medical institutions are useless. There is a time and a place for everything. I try not to rely on stuff too much. But when I truly need something, I hope to God it's there. Believe me, I looked up a couple times at the ceiling, wondering, hey, can you cut me a break? August is an expensive and very stressful month. So if you could do me a favor and just cut me a little fucking slack, please. So on Sunday, cytology reports were sent off to University of New Hampshire. They have a diagnostic laboratory specifically for veterinary services. I'll read it exactly as I see it. The specimen was an FNA of semi-firm subcutaneous mass on left mandible, not responsive to NSAIDs, non-steroidal anti-inflammatories. 4 unsustained slides are received. So I was literally holding the dog. I was holding Chase like this and holding his mouth like this. So that would allow the doctor to literally take a needle and, well, for back or low term, stab the mass on the side of his head, which had grown significantly now that I look back on photos over the course of around 30 days. By the time we got to the doctor's office, at this point, over 30 days, it had grown to, the area looked like the size of a golf ball. There was no pain. So I'm holding him as he's stabbing him with basically this, just a puncture to get in there. It was relatively hard, though. Like, it didn't bleed profusely. There was no pain. But that stuff was sent off on a Labor Day weekend, which is awesome because now I have to wait extra days. So these slides were finally received. On Tuesday afternoon, the results came back. 2 of the smears are highly cellular and contain frequent neutrophils, lesser numbers of foamy macrophages, lymphocytes, and plasma cells, few mast cells, and eosinophils, occasional individual stromal cells and keratin, and moderate amounts of blood on a light pink background. Neutrophils are variably degenerate, occasionally contain intracellular Cauchy and diplocauchy, or Cauchy. Macrophages multifocally contain phagocytized neutrophils and cellular debris. The other 2 smears consist mostly of entirely low to abundant amounts of blood on a light pink background. Interpretation: septic neutrophilic inflammation with occasional intracellular Cauchy. What am I, fucking stupid? What does that mean? It's not cancer. He does not have cancer. He has an infection. The major concern was that this mass on the side of his face was something that was attached to either his adenoids or whatever he has going on up there, and that it has made its way into the lungs where it was growing. And at that point, you have chemotherapy or whatever would have to be started. And in that case, if it's in his lungs, and it's probably in his bloodstream, and if it's in his bloodstream, a small cell, that's all she wrote. And then he essentially leaves this world like my father did. My father left me a little too early. In my opinion, there was multiple stages of him leaving early. There was him deciding he wanted to not take care of himself. Then there was the stage of him becoming extremely old, and then there was the stage of him ultimately not being able to take care of himself anymore. I did not want the same thing to happen to Chase. I wanted him to live his fullest life for as long as possible to the best of his abilities. That's my goal for him. Him leaving too early makes me feel like I didn't do my job. I fought way too hard to get him, to keep him healthy, to keep him happy. I was determined to make sure that didn't stay, that was to stay true. So I am pleased and relieved to report, now that I'm going through this, it's a lot. I'm pleased to report that it is essentially an infection or abscess or bacterial or debris-based infection that is in his near the front of his ear. That since the introduction of antibiotics on Tuesday evening, the swelling of this area has reduced to over 50%. Some would even argue probably between 60 and 70%. And it states basically that, according to the paperwork here, at this point, if it does not start to decrease in size within 3 days of starting medication, then we would consider surgically exploring the area as well as skull or dental radiographs. So he was on it, and he started them Tuesday. And as of about Thursday or Friday, there was a significant reduction in the size of, I would say in the first early days, in the first couple days, it was around 15 to 20% reduced swelling. But now it is significantly reduced to the point where, yes, there is some swelling around like there's excess skin, but the actual ball itself, which is pretty soft and movable, is essentially down to about 30% its size, 40% maybe. This is a huge relief to me, knowing that this is something that is treatable, possibly through medication. And not only treatable, ultimately curable. Now, are there additional steps that need to be taken or may need to be taken? Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. I'm digesting all this at once, and now that I've had a chance to really think about all of it and write it all down to deliver it to you, this is my mentality, and this is why I can't compartmentalize all these things so that I can just record an episode and then deal with these items afterwards. With him, it doesn't work like that. There's a few items in life that can interrupt my thought pattern to the point where I can't sit here and record pretending like everything's okay. No, that doesn't work with me. It just doesn't. I don't want it to. I want to make sure I'm in a stable environment where everything is okay and everything's healthy before I sit here and play in this, I'm not going to call it fantasy land, but essentially, do this extra thing that I've created for myself as a way to, process the things that are going on in my head or in the outside world, or give you some advice or thoughts or whatever. But even though this whole podcast is for entertainment purposes only, and I'm not certified in anything, every now and then I'm certified in knowing what I fucking need to do in order to get shit done. And in my opinion, I needed to do something. And Tuesday morning, I was like, hey, we need to get surgery going, because I didn't know what it was and I wasn't interested in waiting. So my emotions were, at all cost, get him taken care of. So I did not leave his side that day. I sat there. I napped in the chair while he was in the other room resting. And this is the plan they wanted to take. Okay, fine. They're the experts. But I wasn't moving. They had my attention. They had my cooperation. I wasn't going anywhere. And then ultimately, after all was said and done, a huge sigh of relief. And the emotions were all out there. Ever since we first went there about a month ago, when he ate the staple that pretty much created 6 different symptoms, which started this whole emotional roller coaster to begin with. It was all out there for everyone to see. Understanding my love and effort into him. This is why he carries my father's middle name as his middle name, because of how much care and how much effort I give into him every single day. He never leaves my side. He's with me everywhere that I go. I've made mistakes with him in the past. Absolutely, I admit that. But I work really, really hard to make sure that he is enjoying his life to the fullest. Because he brings so much to me. He puts me in a place where he stitches me back together. He stitched me back together. I'm a stronger person today because of him. I knew this the day he disappeared from my life 4 years ago. I fought then to get him back. And I'm telling you now, I fought just as hard, even if it was with my wallet, or in this case, my American Express card, to make sure that it stayed that way. Keeping my emotions in check with him it's not an easy thing to do. And when you promise somebody that you're going to put your life before theirs, what's a few dollars? At the end of the day, there are some things that, is it worth it to just let's just see how... I quickly came to realize over the course of a few days that waiting to play this out, or money or whatever, it doesn't work with me. It doesn't work with me. Not when it comes to him. No way. I was ready to go down the rabbit hole as far as possible. As far as I actually could do it without being told no, to make sure that he comes out of this. I'm glad I did not have to go that route. That is a relief, but ultimately the relief comes with knowing that he's going to be okay. So the evidence of bacterial infection, straight up, the doctor told me no cancer. Told me that. There was some speculation last time. They didn't rule it out. It was only about a week ago. We're like, well, we don't know. We'll see, blah, blah, blah. But I think they were just being cautious. But now it's definitive. The status is final, that he is going to be all right. So there is a primary or secondary infection. So is there an abscessed tooth or an abscessed root? Possible. But for now, he's still on a couple more days of antibiotics. He has an appointment on Friday to have another look and follow up on it. But the hot pack, he seems to love. Apparently, this dog loves having a hot pack on his head. His energy is through the roof. He hates going to the vet. And quite frankly, I don't blame him. It was tough to get him there the last time. But the last sentence on here is that the lesion persists despite therapy, then biopsy and submission for histopathology is recommended to rule out an underlying process that is not represented in these smears. But as far as the cytology report, which is the tell-all, that was looking for cancer. Now, originally the doctor told me that a lab test doesn't necessarily rule it out, but they are very convinced at this point because of the infection that they saw. It was not a cancerous infection. It was probably because He likes to chew on sticks. The son of a bitch put me through hell for the past month because he likes to eat random things. He likes to play tug of war. And it kills me, but it brings me relief. So what was he originally on? He was originally on carprofen, which is 100 milligram ibuprofen, basically. And then after that, he was put on, I don't know, some type of fucking antibiotic. I don't know what it's called. But the process for that is actually relatively simple. I don't have to like specialty hide it in his food or whatever. Oh, I just grab his mouth, yoink it open, yoink, and then I just drop it in there and make sure it falls in the back of his mouth, and then he just takes it. And then he proceeds to eat his food. With joy, mind you. But ultimately, I can't. I'm not. It brought everything to a screeching halt. And it was all emotional based. Couldn't sleep. Couldn't really think. I was just looking at him, looking at his big stupid head and that golf ball on the side of it, wondering what the hell it was. And when my emotions start to take over and I'm wondering what could be, then sitting here is just not feasible. It's not, to me, it's not smart. I need to know what's happening so that I can plan. I don't want to just hope and pray. Now, hoping and praying is good, but there better be some external forces there that are helping me work towards an ultimate conclusion. Because like I said, I got to keeping my emotions in check with him. It's not possible as time passes, as the unknown continues, with a promise to keep him safe at jeopardy. But the timeline of events as I look back, this seems to be that there was some swelling going on as of late July. But you don't kind of really see it until you see it. And then you're like, how the hell did this happen? And you're like, oh. But that's like a lot of things in life, man. But it affects my routine greatly. But he's still in the recovery phase. But it does. It whether I'm going to the gym or my normal routine, my morning things, how is he doing ultimately? It is him before me. As long as he's okay, I can continue. But if there's something wrong with him, there's nothing that stops me. I was somewhere, and at 7:15 in the morning, I made a phone call, and I was like, all right, this is what we're doing today. And I'm not leaving until we figure out what. Because this is the second or third time I've had to go on hiatus. Thankfully, this one was pretty brief. But had to go on hiatus until I figure out what the hell's going on with him. I'd rather not do it again. With him, at least. Now, let's just say he requires surgery to explore this thing and figure out what the mass is, if it either doesn't go away completely or re-inflames. Well, then, okay, simple. We stab that bitch open, rip it, and figure out what's in there. If it's an infection from a piece of stick getting in there and finding its way into the root, we handle it. Whatever it is, we handle it. Because every other event in my life, or whatever you see on Instagram or Rage Bait or Timeline, or I don't know, Cardi B in court, I don't know. It all that stuff it just pales. It doesn't matter. It doesn't. I come in here, I close the door, I close my eyes and think about this. And what comes to mind? When I start writing on this piece of paper before I hit record, what comes to mind? And another question is, when my eyes open, am I in control? And if I'm not in control, then I can't record. But for this relatively short episode, it's, am I able to think clearly, or am I able to think about anything other than him? And the answer is no. It matters. He is a part of me. He's a part of this project. He's a part of this podcast. He's a part of everything that I do. So he is, he is the force for me. It kind of is. Cheesy way to looking at it, but that's what he is to me. He's the oil that makes this thing run. He's the oil that lubricates the engine. Otherwise, this thing just doesn't work. He has to be okay in order for me to sit here. And if he's not, then I have to take a week off or something like that. I have to come back and explain to you why. Consistency is a big thing for me. And when there's no consistency, I have to explain to myself or to my viewers or to family or to friends or to colleagues or to clients why. And this is one of those big things that's like, all right, I disappeared. People know him. They know him around town. They know him in the neighborhood. They know him. They see him at the gym. My clients know him. They know very well that he is deeply rooted in everything that I do. And it's perfect. And I feel perfectly okay coming on here and emotionally explaining to you how much this matters. Because at the end of the day, it does. I don't just sit here and sit here and run my mouth and spout off stupid shit. There's a lot of meaning of why I sit here. Even if it doesn't make sense, it still makes sense. I'm here for a reason. And when he was not doing well, because this is the first time that I've ever really had a major medical event with him. Truly, like I had to stop what I was doing and figure out what was going on before I could go back and figure out anything else with him. And this last 2 weeks broke me. Straight up broke me. Keeping emotions in check were not possible. I was an absolute mess. And they knew. Every doctor that touched him, every tech that met him, picked him up and had to carry him across the lab, they knew that I wasn't settling for anything less than answers and action. And once they saw that, once they realized that I was willing to go through whatever was necessary to keep him safe and healthy, they responded in kind. And they were very nice to deal with the fact that they knew that I was this emotionally high on his overall outcome. They knew that I needed black and white answers. And when they actually did have a true answer to what was going on, it was delivered with finality, with concrete. The last doctor I looked at, ready to put my head in my hands. No cancer? ? And she replied back, no cancer. When you hear that, there is no amount of stoicism. It's just not possible. In my opinion, it's not. It was a full-on sigh of relief. All of my emotions came out. But this is the second time I've had to be told that he's going to be okay in the last 30 days. The first one was very traumatic. This one was ultimate, though. This was like a sequel, a sequel to a movie I never wanted to watch or be a part of. Because he never did anything to anybody. I get it, he's not perfect. But he's never done anything to anyone. Granted, he's scared of kids, but, kids fucking suck sometimes. But he's a good boy. He's the goodest boy. And he didn't deserve this situation that was thrown upon him in so many different ways over the last month. And ultimately, August is it's a maintenance month for me. I have a lot of stuff to do. I have plans. I got to have cars registered, cars inspected. I got to do this, that, and the other thing. Money's flying everywhere. And then this ultimately is thrown on top of that. And it puts everything else to a screeching halt. But knowing that we're rounding third on the way home, he has a small amount of swelling that is not painful. I can grab the side of his face and squeeze. It doesn't bother him. It's not painful. And I think ultimately it's going to minimize itself over the course of this week. The question is, how much farther do we have to go? Is it just going to go away on its own? Is it ultimately just going to drain out and he's going to return to his normal, adorable face? Or is there going to be more work to be done, such as an abscess, minor surgery, recovery time, blah, blah, blah. If there is, I promise you, I deal with it. Okay? But it was no just waiting it out. A few $1,000s doesn't mean shit to me, whether I could afford it or not. You have to remember, I ripped my entire 401k out with penalty in order to get him. So that was when I had no money. So this was nothing to me. But he's okay. That's the big thing about this. It's like, it's okay. I can get a sigh of relief, a huge sigh of relief. I can put this episode out. And then I can go, all right, now we're here. How do we get back on track? It's a great feeling to have, to know that you are truly being as responsible as you possibly can, and as proactive as you possibly can to make sure that, someone you love is okay and they're on the course to recovery. And then you look at this paperwork and you're like, hey, yeah, I don't know what any of these interpretations mean. And I know I talk a lot of shit about the so-called experts in the medical industry, but when it comes to animals, that's a different. First of all, I've never talked shit about dentists, and I've never talked shit about vets, because they're a different breed. Granted, there are some out there that are, coke sniffing vet techs and things like that, but for the most part, no, I don't. It's a different breed of human that cares for animals. And that's where I have trust in the establishment. That's where I gain trust in the establishment. When it comes to lab work for dogs, when it comes to surgery for dogs, they understand there's a different type of emotion when somebody is willing to spend thousands of dollars to make sure that the doggo is okay. That they have work to do, and they understand that. There are people out there that would push their grandmother over a cliff at a moment's notice, but when it comes to Fluffy, they'll drain their entire bank account to make sure that that dog is okay. And that attachment, especially with men, to their dogs, you just can't break it. If you've ever seen John Wick, it's like, okay, all right, well, it's not just a dog. Granted, but still. So I just wanted to, the bullet points are there, but it's very simple. Like, just looking at this paperwork, it just kind of, okay, we went through this, they went through that. But you're sitting think about it. You start your day at 7:15 in an ER, a vet ER, and you're sitting there all day long. And then at about 2:30, the results come back, and you think you're getting ready to have your dog, have sedated and put into surgery. It's been 6 hours. You've barely eaten. It's hot out. And then you're told this thing that kind of breaks down your wall of, all right, you know, get ready to spend more money, get ready for a long road to recovery if possible, and the worst case scenario, nope, you're good, it's fine. Now people could say, you know, what were you so freaking, you know, what are you freaking out? Look, I don't know. You see swelling, it's like, but you don't have answers. Maybe it goes away on its own, or maybe it turns into small cell. It metastasizes, basically goes into the bloodstream, and you're too late. This is my problem with people waiting. You need to find out what's going on now. There are some things you can wait for. This was a situation where I couldn't wait. I needed to know. That was important to me. And my connection with him, my emotional connection with him is unbreakable. And I would lash out if anybody was like, what were you so worried about? It was no big... You just look at him and go, hey, it ain't your party. It's not your thing. You don't get it. But people did reach out. Thank you. He is recovering. He never lost his energy. He never lost his appetite. He never lost anything that he was. Therefore, he is. He's just got a little bump on the side of his head. It's bacteria. It is septic neutrophilic inflammation with occasional intracellular cocci. COCCI. Whatever the fuck that means, he's going to be okay. Doggo's fine. We will end on that note. I'll take the week. Maybe I'll give you an update, or maybe we'll just move on to a different subject, but I had to take a hiatus until I knew what was going on. Thank God it was a short one, because I'm sure there's plenty to talk about out there. But we're good. He's okay. I'm ready to go like apple picking or something and just have an enjoyable fall, because this was exhausting. You can find me on Instagram at @positive_sarcasm. Hit me up on my website, positivesarcasm.com. You can email me directly, positivesarcasm@outlook.com. Like, subscribe, share, donate, positivesarcasm.com/donate. Any amounts appreciated. I thank you guys for anybody who reached out immediately, finding out what's wrong with them. I need to collect my thoughts and just let you know that things are fine. We're good. I have nothing bad to report to you. So, thank you. You guys can find this podcast anywhere podcasts are available, okay? So, there you go. We're good. Let's all breathe together. Thank you for listening, watching, and subscribing. And I will talk to you all next week. Recorded here from New Hampshire's beautiful seacoast inside the Spare Parts Studio for entertainment purposes only. This has been a Positive Sarcasm presentation.